In this video, we'll talk about the basic transformations in Maya, which is translate, rotate, and scale, or move, rotate, and scale. For doing these three operations, we can actually use the three tools that we find in our toolbox: move, rotate, and scale. These tools can also be accessed with the help of shortcut keys. So I can simply press W, E, and R to get those three different tools. Let me create an object first. I'll go to Create, Polygon Primitives, and choose Cube. I can choose the Move tool, and I can move the object from one place to another. We can also do this movement with the help of our channel box. If I look in the channel box, I can see Translate XYZ, Rotate XYZ, and Scale XYZ. Scale value is by default 1, and all the others are 0. Now, if I want to move the object in x-axis, all I can do is just click here and move. If I want to move it in y-axis, I can click here and move. If I want to move in two axes at the same time, I can choose somewhere here in the middle. Say, for example, I'm looking here in the other viewports. This is z-axis. I don't want the object to move in z-axis, but I want it to move in the two other axes. All I can do is just click here and move. Notice that in the top view and in the front view, it's actually moving sidewise, but in the side view, it is moving only up and down. That's because we're constrained the movement to only x and y axis so that it never moves in z axis. The same way we can also constrain it to y and z axis just by selecting here. So you can see that it's moving left and right in side view, it's moving up and down in top view, and it's moving up and down in front view. Okay, fine. If you want to move in all the views, you can just select in the middle and move, so that now you can see that in all the views we're actually seeing a movement in all the axes. And you can also visually see in our channel box that all the three axes are getting the change. Let's go ahead and select all of them and press 0 so that we'll bring it back to the default location. Let's try the rotation tool. So if I choose the rotation tool, now for rotation we also have the same color coding. So we have red, green, and blue, and we also have one big circle outside. So if I want to rotate in x-axis alone, I can just click here and rotate. You can see that the value in x-axis changes. Let me make the object a bit longer so that we can actually see the rotation. So let me just increase the height. Okay, nice. Now let me go back to my rotation tool. So now you can see that I'm rotating in x-axis alone. I can also rotate in y-axis and z-axis. Now if I want to rotate an object with a free form rotation in all the axes, I can click anywhere in the middle. Okay, so now I can actually rotate it in all axes with a free form rotation. But it is always recommended not to do this, because sometimes we might get disoriented about where our object is and what is the rotation value that we have given for certain axis. If you got stuck at any point of time, you can simply select all these three values and give 0 so that it will come back to the original rotation values. So whenever we are rotating, it is always better to choose the axis that you want and just rotate it to the value that you want. We can also enter a manual value here, just let's say 90 degrees. If we want to rotate our object based on the view that we are looking at, that is based on the camera's perspective, we can also use this outer circle. So what this will do is this will actually rotate the object based on the camera's view. So if I change my camera like this, then the rotation axis will be totally different. This is not a common thing that you will be using, but just in case if you have a situation where you have to rotate your object based on the camera's perspective, then you can do that. Last but not least, we have the scale tool. If I select the scale tool, we also have the three different axes. So if I want to scale it in only x-axis, I can select here and scale it. If I want to scale it only in y-axis, I can select here and scale it. If in only z-axis, then we can select the z-axis and scale. If you want to scale in all the axes, you can select from the center. If you want to scale in only certain two axes, you can just click here and you can scale like that. So this concludes this video on basic transformations.